Hello, Hayless Gaming here, bringing you another Anomic agent guide. We got an update to the Serpentis burner today, and this is the one that everybody has been struggling with because they recently just patched it. We got an updated fit that makes out a little bit more DPS than what the old fit does, and is able to tank it long enough to kill it. So that's what we got for you today. The Serpentis burner is a fun little fight. I'll go over the fit second. This time we're going to go over the skills first. For Spaceship Command, we're going to need Caldari Frigate 5 because it's a requirement for flying the Hawk. And then we're also going to need Assault Frigates to 3 or 4 is good. 5 is nice for a little extra room on the tank. But I would really recommend 4 to be extra safe on the tank. You won't need to overheat the tank with 4. And 5 gives you some like leeway. You'll be able to flex a little bit and won't have to stress about overheating a lot. We're not really that important on navigation. As long as you got navigation to do the rest of the missions, you should be fine. I'm not too worried about navigation in this one. Fitting skills in the engineering tree are an absolute must, as are capacitor skills. You need the max capacitor to be able to get the benefit from a cap inject, because a Hawk barely has enough cap at 410 to receive the full benefit of a cap booster. And with all the skills to 5, it's just barely enough. So you need all your fitting skills up. Advanced weapons upgrades, I believe 4 or 5. Yeah, you're gonna need advanced weapon upgrades 5 to fit the CPU on the rockets and guns. So that's gonna be a requirement. And then the power grid management and CPU management are of course a must. You should have those to 5 if you're flying anything. We're not armor tanked, but of course. Mechanics and hull upgrades give you extra hit points in case you bleed through your shields, so that's always good. In shields, we are a active shield fit using no passive boosters. So the shield boosting skill, which I believe is shield operation, and then we're going to need shield management and shield upgrades to 5 to be able to fit everything. Tactical shield manipulation 4 helps here, so we don't bleed into shield as easily. You don't need the passive skills because we're an active tank. Targeting is not necessary. Gunnery is nice to have T2 guns, but pretty much whatever you can bring is helpful. You don't need to bring a T2 railgun or a T2 autocannon, but you bring a metaphor and try and bring a metaphor or a T2, whatever's best for you, and try and make it hit around 9 to 11 kilometers with good tracking, and you'll be golden. For missiles, we are using T2 rocket launchers with Scourge faction ammo. You might be able to do this with Metaphor, but again, we're barely enough DPS to break the tank, so I really recommend you get T2 to be able to do this. And then all the support skills to 4 are a requirement to be able to do this properly. Anything that you have to 5, rapid launch, target navigation prediction, which is what I'm training right now, missile bombardment even, missile bombardment and projection help with range, really help your up DPS and apply DPS and really make the difference between being able to barely do this mission and being able to do it cleanly. So start getting them to 5. All the ones that require like 8 days to get up, I would really recommend. Again, this is my 0 to hero, so I don't have everything trained on it. We're not using drones. We're not really using electronic systems except for target painting. This helps a lot when you have signature focusing up. Getting signature focusing to 4 is probably going to help me a lot, but I just haven't done it yet. I'm not good at EVE Online, so we'll just go with that. I know burners, that's about it. In the rigging skills, we're going to need shield rigging and launcher rigging, at least to 3. This is to 2. You can get away with it. The drawback for shield systems is signature radius. Again, we're not... Oh, correct me. I'm wrong. We are not using shields. We're just using launcher rigging. I believe you just need 3. Because I can make it work with 3. I think 4 is preferable. It might be a little easier on the fit. You might be able to fit a better thing here or there. I haven't played with the fit too much. It just, I know this works. I haven't explored it. And that's really it for the skills to fly the ship. Again, for doing missions, I would recommend the social skills. I'll get into that in another video in depth. And then for the fitting, we have a 150mm railgun, which can also be a autocannon if you'd prefer that. And then we have 4 T2 rocket launchers. Loaded with Caldari Navy Scourge, and then the railgun's loaded with Antimatter, because that's kind of what worked with the range and tracking. We have the Pithum C-type medium shield booster, and 2 Caldari Navy Stasis Webifiers, a target painter, and a cap booster in the mids. In the lows, we have 2 Caldari Navy Ballistics controls. In the rig slots, we have a small loading bay accelerator and a small Rigor catalyst. In the cargo, the big important thing is that we have a ton of extra cap boosters. I would recommend carrying at least 20. And then the rest we fill up with ammo. And that's pretty much it for the fit. It looks like this in the fitting window. I forgot to bring that up. It gives us a nice kinetic and thermal resist, because that's what the Hawk has naturally, and that's why the Hawk is a fantastic choice for this mission, because of its really high kinetic and thermal damage resistance, which is what the Serpentis agent does to us. I don't really have much else to say about the fit, so let's get into the fight. We're just going to go on in here. So we have, before we go in, we're going to set our default keep at range to 500 meters, because that's 50 is the lowest, but 500 works. You want to try and approach the thing instead of trying to fly away from it, because if you try and fly away from it, it's going to do its traversal is going to be less with you, and you're doing missiles, so you want a higher traversal to be able to reduce that. If you approach the target when they're orbiting you, you get a higher traversal. If you run from the target while they're orbiting you, you get a lower traversal, and we want a higher traversal because we're using the rockets, because traversal doesn't affect rockets. It does affect the autocannon, but it's not that important. Anyways, as we go in, we're going to get ready. Nothing needs to be overheat right off the bat on this mission. So we're going to go in. We're going to lock him up. We're going to keep at range, and then we're going to pay attention to his velocity. We're going to turn these 3 modules on and our tank. We're going to web him down, and his velocity is going to drop. Once that gets to about 280, we can begin firing. And then we're pretty much done with that part. We're going to go to the guns here in just a second. But what we really got to watch is we got to watch our capacitor here. It's going to drop really fast because of this booster. Right when it runs out, you want to inject, because you want to run completely out before you inject, because your cap booster barely gives you a full cap. And you're barely going to have enough cap to run everything. Once you get to about 30 rockets left, you're going to start overheating. And then you're going to watch the heat, because it is possible that it burns out before it runs out of rockets. And so right now what we're paying attention to is the capacitor. We're making sure that the shield wiper stays on, and we're watching the heat accumulate on our rockets. Again, I forgot to mention in skills, Thermodynamics 5 helps a lot, but it's not required. You don't need heat to break them, it helps a lot to use the heat. It looks like we're going to break him in the first one. If you don't break him before you have to reload your rockets, just wait for the rocket reload, hang in there. You should be able to reload and kill him. It might take a couple cycles, because after you reload, he reps a little bit. But that's pretty much it for this fight. You just got to make sure everything stays on and keep the damage applied, and you will do fine. If you like this video, like and subscribe below. Make sure to comment whatever you want to do. If you dislike the video, tell me why. Everybody fly safe and have a good night.